I'd love to reintroduce Rebecca Hall Greider for her next fabulous piece of information. And it follows so well from what Karma just talked about. We hide. We hide behind the curtain, we hide behind our flip charts. When we're a speaker, oftentimes we hide behind podiums or tables or anything else that puts a barrier between us and the audience. We hide visibility-wise. One of the things my coach said to me ages ago was, Linda, you got to be out there. You've got to be on social media. You have to step out and be visible. And I still say, yeah, right? So Rebecca is going to talk about becoming more visible through books, and I'm not sure, you're talking about radio shows and that kind of stuff too? Yeah, so all the different ways that you can become more visible. Have people saying to you, I see you everywhere. And that's such a really great thing to have somebody say about you. So I'd like to give a round of applause to Rebecca as we bring her back onto the stage.
Well, we're going to talk about visibility, which is now one of my favorite things to talk about. And it used to be something I avoided at all costs. I don't know if anyone in here knows anybody like that. But I wanted to be invisible. Yet, I wanted to make a difference. I wanted somehow people interacting with me would know my heart cared, that they mattered. I wanted them somehow to pick it up by osmosis. And they would be better for my passing there. So I remained the best kept secret. And I would get frustrated because I would think, I have the answer for them. I can help them. Why don't they know? And I would get frustrated in my networking. I'd go to the networking events and hide in the back of the room, not make eye contact and wait for someone to approach me, and then get frustrated that networking didn't work. I would speak only if they made me, stand up and share, and I would look like I was in pain and try to get it over as quickly as possible. Learn there's nothing more miserable than watching somebody who doesn't want to be up there struggling through it and looking like they're hurting. In the audience, you feel that and you hurt too, right? We like to have speakers that want to connect with us, that are excited to connect with us. We're not so much concerned about the perfection as that they're willing to be there and be open and make eye contact and see us and interact with us. That's more what we want in a speaker. So I started to improve those skills, got a little bit better than networking. I actually would reach out to people instead of hiding in the back. And I thought if I could make 3 contacts in an event, then it was a success. And that was a really good goal for me to have event after event, and it was less overwhelming. And guess what? I could do the follow-up. Because that's another thing we do. We go to events and we get that whole stack of cards. Then what happens with the cards? They go kind of sit with the other cards. And then we get a little overwhelmed, and then we find the cards again, and then we think, oh, I need to call them, but it's not a good time. Nobody wants to talk on a Saturday. I'll wait till Monday. Oh, no one wants to talk on Mondays. Monday's not a great day. Tuesdays, but I'm busy. I've got some other things to do. Wednesday rolls around. Now it's been too long. I feel weird calling. Right? So looking at all of those things step by step, I started to say, okay, 3, I can manage. I can do the follow-up. If I was going to too many networking groups, how I know I was going to too many networking events was I couldn't do the follow-up. So that became a measure for me. Because what happens when you go networking and you share and you say, yes, let's get in touch, I want to reach out to you, and then we don't do it, we're hurting our reputation. We're actually not helping grow our reach. So it's really important that we have follow through on what we're doing, what we're saying. So going back to visibility and wanting people by osmosis to know what I did, and getting frustrated as I looked in the mirror, I'm like, why can't they see me? Why don't they know I'm here? Why aren't they coming to me? I realized I had to go to them. I had to be easy to find. I had to go where my people are. And if they're on social media, then I need to get on social media. I need to be really, really easy to find. Because here's what I've discovered about visibility. When people are hurting, I don't know if anyone in this room has had those moments or knows somebody that has, when life is suddenly different and you cannot go back to the way it was. So it's stay and be frustrated or go forward. We have those moments and they hurt and they're hard and they're frustrating. And it's almost like this thick pea soup fog comes down around us. And all we can do is, okay, I can breathe. Okay, I can take another breath. We can't hear the voices. They become like that, right? They become muffled. We can't see the hands outstretched because we're trying to survive that situation, that darkness. We feel isolated and alone. We don't know who to reach out to. The only thing I know that cuts through darkness is light. And I believe what visibility is truly about is being so visible, we become that light that we cut through the darkness, especially in those moments when somebody hurts. They're actually able to see us, and they can see our hand outstretched because we're shining a light out. We're showing a safe course, a path, and I'm here with you. And we don't know when that moment's going to hit in someone's life. We can't say, now I'll be visible. We need to consistently shine our light out, share out what we do, what we stand for, how we can help. And we need to be easy to find. People do not need hard, challenging searches when they're hurting. Does that make sense? So visibility is actually not about ourselves. It's about the people who need what we have. And if you ever feel like you're the best kept secret, you have to look at yourself and see, where are my people? How can I be more visible there? And here's indicators that you know you're doing that you're making that connection. You want to know? People reach out to you. They start referring people to you. They're able to quote some of the things that you say. Those are indicators that you're being visible and you're being heard and your message is making an impact. If people are saying things like, oh, I didn't know you did that, or I didn't know that's what you do, those are indicators that the message isn't making it through. It's not shining clearly or brightly enough to the people you're trying to reach. And this isn't about judgment. It isn't about criticism. It's really looking at, where are we now? Where are we called to be? Because this is about, how are we shining in 2019 and beyond? And no one can do it for us. We have to be willing to be seen. You can hire a PR firm, you can outsource these things, but if you still hide, it's undermining the message you're trying to get out. And I'm all about coming alongside each other, that you don't have to build everything on your own, but you've got to be committed to being seen and to being heard so that you can reach the people that need you. And I started at those events, not in social media at all. I had a clipboard, and I had 70 people on my list that I had gotten through doing clipboard. And I didn't have a free gift. And I had a website I hope nobody would go to. And to redesign that. And so I would go around my clipboard. I would have a conversation with people, grassroots. And I would say, I'd really love to connect with you. Here's my event notification list. Would you like to be on it? Almost everybody signed up. I didn't offer them anything. It was event notification. Start where you're at. We use those things sometimes as a reason not to, instead of taking action to do the things we're called to do, to be visible, to be seen, to impact the people that we're called to impact. At our event, Thrive, and even in Spring Forward, we've been talking about planting. And so you can see I handed out a flower chart in that same theme, because I've been thinking a lot about planting. If we're looking at 2019 and we're looking at 2020, because it's 2019 and beyond that we want to shine and we want to grow, right? What are we planting? Are any of you do any gardening in the room? Okay. So our gardeners, when you plant cucumber seeds, what do you expect to grow? Okay, great. When you plant tomato seeds, what do you expect to grow? Tomatoes. But you would be rather shocked if you planted tomatoes and you got cucumbers. And they don't mix, right? So we can choose what we plant, and whether we realize it or not, we're planting things all along. So I'm going to take a moment, maybe flip over the flower chart, and just ask the question, what am I planting purposely that I want to grow in 2019 and 2020? And this can be around visibility, being seen. This can be around business growth. It can be around personal goals, whatever it may be. But what are you planting? So as you're thinking about what you're planting, anything that you plant has a cycle. Like it'll go into the ground, and we nurture it, hopefully. We're watering it, waiting for the seedling to sprout the roots, and watching and kind of taking care of. And after a period of time, we'll start to see growth, hopefully. Sometimes we do several seeds. Not every seed always grows. But we're planting with intention, and we expect after that period of time to have some growth. It's the same thing with our business and whatever it is that we're looking to plant. That we plant it, there's going to be a time that it doesn't appear on the outside yet. That it's working and it's growing, but then at some point it should show up. And we should see that emerge and come through and grow. It shouldn't be a surprise, like, oh, I didn't know tomatoes were here. Like, we planted them. Right? So I want you to think about, as you look at what you wrote, what you planted, and it's a good thing to kind of check in. Is it showing up? And in your business, what I find typically, if you had a business goal or something that you were planting or wanting, it can be from the activity you do today. If we're looking at sales, 1 to 3 months before it shows up in money in your bank. If that was your goal, one of your goals, what you were trying to plant. Because there's a cycle between people finding out about what you do, seeing if it's right fit, making a decision, then budgeting. If it's a higher end thing, they typically need time to budget, and then they're able to lean in and say yes. So if we take this further, I want to think about this. If you decide to stop working for 3 months during the holidays because it's fourth quarter and nothing happens there, holidays get busy, what's that going to impact? And first quarter is going to be kind of scary. And here's something else. It doesn't need to be all or nothing. We like to do that. I need a break, so we take a complete break and we totally unplug for months or whatever it may be. Whereas maybe we could just pull back halfway. Enjoy the holidays. Take some time off. But recognize if you pull back everything, it's harder to get everything started. And here's what I have found really exciting about fourth quarter, because it's just around the corner, right? So what is fourth quarter? Just so I'm using language everyone understands. October, November, December, exactly. What I find is so many people, because here's what people say. So we can find evidence to believe what we are trying to prove is true, right? So we can choose to believe nothing happens during the holidays. Everyone's busy and distracted. I can't sell anything. Or we could choose to say, oh, so many people are distracted and busy for part of the effort it normally takes me to get attention and share my message. I'm not competing with all those people. So I can choose to share and lean in and be consistent. And I have found my fourth quarter has always been my strongest, year after year after year, regardless of the field I have been in. So be careful what you accept as truth and what you're finding evidence to support that. And some of the things I'm going to focus on today, and we're all talking in our different areas of expertise today. So I'm going to be thinking about the seeds that you're choosing to plant, the information you're receiving, how is that feeding into your plan? Because the things you do today are going to affect 1 month, 2 months, 3 months down the road. And that continues to be the case. And instead, we get reactionary. We forget what we did in December, that we took December off, and we're surprised January, February, March is scary. And then we panic and we try to ramp all this stuff up and nothing's happening because it's February, March, April, May that we're going to start to see that shift and that change. Does that make sense? And I'm talking about income coming in, whatever the thing is, there's always a cycle and there's going to be delay from when you start to when you're going to see that impact come in, that change, that shift, okay? So looking at that and all the information you're going to get today, I want you to think about what are the seeds that you're planting. And the area I want to talk about is visibility. Because if they cannot see you, they cannot hear you, you cannot help them. So take a moment and think about, and you can do this on the back of that paper still, where are your people? The people you're trying to reach. An extra credit bonus opportunity is as you grow, where do you see them being? Because we're in growth. And just kind of feel into that. See. Some of the areas that we're going to talk about today are being networking, and we talked about that a little bit, kind of in person types of things where you're interacting with people live. That's one space, an area that you can meet people. Oh, and let me actually, before I go there, so we're going to talk about that in a moment. Back to gardening. When I first started gardening, here's where I started. I was given a thing of one packet of cucumber seeds, and it came with 50. And so I went, oh, it wants to be in pots about this deep. I skim read. I didn't realize the spacing and all of that. So I took a thing of dirt, I dumped the seeds in, and I put dirt over it. And I waited. Watered, did all of that. Didn't dawn on me, I just planted 50 things that were all the same. Luckily, cucumbers are fairly hardy, and they came through, and before I knew it, I had cucumber sprouting out everywhere, and I was replanting and moving them to bigger containers because they get really big. Has anyone ever grown cucumbers? Oh yeah. And the other thing about cucumbers is they have these little tentacles that grab onto things and they pull themselves up. And they'll do that. And at one point they were going beyond the place I wanted them to go beyond, so I actually tried to untangle those little tentacle things and redirect it back down the trellis. Like I could go back. It unwound itself. They do not go down. Goes up. And I thought, what a good lesson for us. Not to be redirected down, become smaller, to shrink back, but to keep growing and becoming who we're becoming and sharing that out. The other thing is having balance in the activities that we're doing and planting. 50 cucumber plants. I had to actually have people adopt cucumber plants. Right, Linda, you were there, Brandy? Yeah, we had a rescue. And many cucumber plants found a home because I found I only needed 1 or 2 in my garden. So when you're thinking about the seeds you're planting, are you allowing room for growth? Are you planning on growth? Are you packing things so close together there's no room for growth and expansion? Are you doing the same thing all the time because that's comfortable or we like doing that? We'll just do more of it and hope for different results. We've heard that's the definition of insanity, right? Keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. But we want to check in because it's so easy to do. So we keep doing some of the things we enjoy or like most, and that can create an unbalanced business. And visibility can be one of those things we avoid. Okay, so now I wanted to make sure we talked about balance and growth and room. That's important for our conversation. What goes in the center of our flower? That's right, you go in the center, but you, your name, not Rebecca's. I'll show you my chart later. This is your chart. We're building it for you. And we're looking now at through things at visibility. Are you doing in-person kinds of things? Is that where your people actually are? The types of things you're doing? One of the mistakes I made early on when I first became an entrepreneur is what I called networking and business conversations. The other person thought it was a social get-together. Became very awkward at some point when I suddenly started talking about business and trying to close a sale. And then I'd be frustrated because I thought this was a business meeting and they were looking at it differently. So I learned it was really important to be clear on how I was allocating my time. And when I'm setting up meetings, I was very clear on what the meeting was about for both of our sakes. And sometimes they were social because I wanted some social, and that was more comfortable than really being clear that it was business. And if you fill your time with that, it means you're busy, but it doesn't mean you're productive. It doesn't mean you're making the connections you need to make. So the in-person things, one, are you doing them? Two, are they helping you further what you're trying to further? Is that an effective visibility place? And the places you're choosing, do those make sense for who you're trying to reach? Does that make sense? Okay. And I think it's important to have a balance of all, but everyone's business is a little bit different, so you need to check in and see what's right for you, what's right for your business, who you're trying to reach. And here's the thing with speaking, because you can be a speaker, you can be a vendor, you can be an attendee. That's all live. But not every vendor opportunity, not every speaking opportunity is the right one. Have any of you been in a room where you're speaking on the stage and you're looking out and you're like, ooh, who put me here? And you just kind of painfully try to kind of get through it. And it feels like the clock just keeps stretching the time. Right? That can be avoided if we check in and see, is that the place I can serve best? Is that where I'm called? Because when we say yes to something, we're saying no to something else that we may just not know about yet. That's a seed you're planting. And in that space, you can't put another seed. And then we have online. Social media, email. Okay, I'm going to be really, I'm going to bring up something not everybody's going to like. Do I have permission? And I'm okay if you don't like it. We're still friends. Okay? Email is an important part of communication, and sometimes we're getting so busy in our life, we're not responding to emails sent to us. We're getting overwhelmed. But I can tell you, speaking opportunities are coming to you through email. Business joint ventures are coming to you. Clients are reaching out to you by email. If you're too busy to respond or check in on a regular pace, you're hurting your reputation, you're hurting your business. So find a way to either narrow down the way people are reaching out to you, simplify it so you're staying connected and in touch. And I know more and more data is coming to us all the time. More and more information. But we've got to find a way. That's a way people are communicating with you. So we need to find a way to manage that. And if you're not going to, don't give out your email. Don't have an email. because people communicate and expect a response. Okay. And it's with that, it's not, you want to be easy to find, you want to be easy to work with. You want to be easy for your clients to reach you. And speaking opportunities, interview opportunities, and if somebody is scheduling you and they have to email you 3 times, remind you, then send you a text and then call you, they're going to stop doing that after a while. So find how you're going to respond and be consistent about that, and then be easy to work with if you're wanting those types of opportunities, especially if you're wanting to be visible and grow. Okay. Social media. It can be overwhelming when you first step into social media, or maybe you're there now and it's a little overwhelming. Some really good advice a mentor of mine gave me was start with one. You don't have to be in all the medias. Start with one. That's your main go-to. That's what you let people know. That's where they follow you. That's the one you can manage. And then you can add another and another as you're ready. And I found that really valuable advice when I stepped into radio, which, by the way, is a media, social media. And I had this long list of all the things I was supposed to do and learn. And I had to be in media, and I wasn't at all. I'd only gotten on Facebook because a coach made me do it to join a group so I could be part of a program. And so I started to get into that word a little bit, a step at a time. And I still have my favorite medias that I'm in. We've expanded all the places, but I don't try to be in all the medias. But the medias I'm in, I want to be responsive. Because again, it's a way people are communicating with you. It's a way to share information out. And it can hurt our reputation and what we're trying to bring forward if we're not managing that. So what seeds are you planting in this space now and going forward? How about in print? This can be postcards. It can be like the things I've handed out. Those are in print. It can be books. It can be magazines you're writing for. Where are you showing up in print? Or are you? Do your people like to read things in print? Will it serve who you're trying to reach? Because again, it's about them, not you. And then find a way to do it your way that can still meet their need. When I was first being approached about writing, I was very intimidated by that and uncomfortable because I could speak my story. If you asked me to write anything, I would do business plans. I was really good at business plans and results and measurements and that kind of thing, but it didn't include my heart. Somehow they'd got disconnected when it came to writing. And so I kept saying, I'm not a writer. I can't write. I can't. Until I was given the opportunity to write a chapter in an anthology. And I discovered there were many ways to write. Where so I could record what I was speaking. I could get that transcribed. I could start with that and then bring that forward. So I learned there's not just one approach. And so I could play in my strength of speaking instead of trying to write from my heart and still get the message out in a way that was going to serve and reach the people that I was called to serve and reach. Are you speaking on other platforms? Other stages, being interviewed? It could be on Facebook Live, it could be podcasts, any of those types of things, radio shows, panels. Are you having the opportunity to speak on other stages that have been created? Is that something that would serve you? Is that a seed that you need to plant more of those seeds or less of those seeds for 2019 and beyond? How about your own platforms? For those of you who want to speak anytime, as much as you can as possible, as many times as possible, create your own platform. No limits. But here's the thing about creating your own platform. Just because you build the content and you share it doesn't mean anyone's listening or watching. Right? So it's not enough just to build. Same thing on Amazon. Years ago there were about 100,000 books being released a year. Now it's over 2 million being released every year. So how do you stand out? How do you be seen? Because it can be the most amazing book that can change people's lives, but if nobody knows about it, it's the best kept secret. So we need to be committed to our message, to reaching out as well, not just building the platform, building the event and expecting them to come to us. We need to go to them. We need to create that bridge. So how are we planting the seeds to create that bridge, to be easy to find? But when I have people come to me, I want to speak more, I want to speak all the time. I said, great, build your own show. Let's do it. I want to speak live. Great, do an event. Build it. Here's your stage. You can speak as long as you want on whatever, in whatever format is going to serve your people. But if you want to get people in the room and you want people to hear, you got to promote, you got to share, you got to get the message out there. And your messages deserve that. When you're called to be a speaker, when you're called to be a writer, when you're called to be an expert in what you're bringing forward, a coach, that's because someone needs what you have. It's a calling. So let's join the calling and help it be heard. Let's help it reach the people that need it. Let's be easy to find. Let's go to where they are. Events like this, now we shared in the beginning the different locations we are from. So we have Canada, we have different parts across the country, and we have local, right? Going to events like this that have national or international reach, gather together a group of experts and influencers and leaders in a room that you didn't have to gather and all those people together or one by one reach out to them. They are now clustered together in an event where you can connect, you can network, and you can share with each other. Look for events like that where there are clusters of people that you're wanting to either network and connect with as peers, or you want to learn from, or there are groups of people you can help. And this is in person, online. If you're in print, where is the stuff you're printing going? Other platforms, are those gathering people that you're trying to reach? In your own platform, if you're going to build your own platform, which I'm all for, have your show, have your events. But build it in a way it's easy for the people you're trying to reach to find it. Let it be easy for them to find. One of the things when we built our television network that I struggled with at first was, and I wrestled and I kept going back to the team and I kept going back to the team. I said, this is all great. We have amazing content we're building. This is the hub to come to. What are we sending out so they know? How can we come alongside our hosts so it's not all on them to build that so they can reach more people? How do we get the message out too so it's a two-way street, not just come to us and watch our amazing programs? And so we built it. We built it where we promote out every single episode of every show that's released on multiple networks. We're sharing it out in media as well as in a fabulous place people can come and watch programming. We're coming alongside them. Part of the reason we built our reach and we do all the syndications that we do, where we release things on multiple platforms, multiple networks, that we're in multiple medias, is because we wanted it to be easier for experts to reach more people. So we built it piece by piece by piece in all of these different areas so you can leverage our reach of over 10 million and reach your people. You don't have to build it all on your own. That's why we did it. Step by step by step. So looking at your flower, looking at each of these areas, what seeds are you going to start planting to affect 1 month, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months out? While you're making notes on that, I had a couple quotes I wanted to share with you. The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. Vince Lombardi. Efforts and courage are not enough without purpose and direction. John F. Kennedy. So I want us to have direction, purpose, plan on how we want our garden to look. What seeds are we planting that are going to go where we're called to go, particularly in visibility? How are we getting the message out? And it's really good to check in and see where you're at now and where you're going. And here's the thing I find, one of the things I find with this, is where we tend to need to plant the seeds is outside of our comfort zone and outside of our current reach, which is another reason to remember you don't have to do it on your own. You can have someone come alongside you that maybe is a little bit further along in that journey, in that area of visibility. Let's stop being the best kept secrets. You were called on purpose. For a purpose. Not for someday, but for now. You're needed now. So I'd love for you to draw some seeds on your paper and name them. You don't have to show your paper to anybody, but these are seeds that you're going to be planting. I'll draw them a little bigger so you can see them. Big seeds. And what support will you need to help with the seeds and help with growth? Remember, community is part of that. So let's plan to nurture those seeds too. Have that structure they can grow on. Let's plan on it, not be surprised by the growth and have to scramble. What I want you to take from today's presentation is really looking at the seeds you're planting. And are they going to grow the garden you're wanting to grow? The seeds you're planting today, is it going to become able to become what you need it to become in the area of visibility? Is it going to become that? Or are there some new seeds you need to start planting, and what are those seeds? And what support do you need to get there? And we're honored to support you on that journey and be a part of it, absolutely. But if we're not the right fit, that's okay too. You're still part of our community. We still love you and support you. I want you to find that right fit because your message is needed. Your gifts are needed. And only you can say yes to sharing it out and be willing to become visible enough to be seen and heard and have the impact you're called to have. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring us to a close. I'd like you to take a moment and just kind of stop, pause, feel into anything that is speaking in your heart and spirit from this morning through now. Give yourself a moment to process. And with that, I'm going to hand the floor back to Linda. Thank you.
Are you a speaker looking to reach more people with your message? You have a global vision that you want to touch the world and make a global difference. If so, I have an amazing opportunity for you. It's called the Speaker Talent Search. Again, that's thespeakertalentsearch.com. You'll find all the details, but here are the highlights. With one application process, you get clarity on your message. You get to fine-tune how you want to reach the world. Then you'll have everything ready in one place for the opportunities when they come. Second, we select you as a finalist. You get to come in and audition with a 7-minute audition, open up the door to hundreds of speaking opportunities. I hope you lean in. I hope you say yes. We would love to hear your message. Help you touch the world powerfully. Again, that's the speakertalentsearch.com. We look forward to hearing your powerful message.